It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, this is Gary Shorman, and you're watching The Forum on Eagle Community Television. Eagle TV and The Forum is brought to you by Hayes Med. Our guest is Alan LaPolice. He's from Clyde, but he also is doing something special. He's running for 1st District Congressman as an independent. Alan, good to have you on the program.
Great to be here, Gary.
It's fun because we were talking a little bit before, but tell us about your what your life, your family, and that, and then we'll talk about why you ran for and why you're running for politics.
Sure. I did my best to get my information out in the last race, but I'm a fifth generation Kansas farmer. I grew up growing, basic feed crops and milking cows, so I know agricultural life fairly well, twice a day, every day, until I graduated high school. Then I left for the Army. I served in the infantry. I was in the 3rd Infantry Division. I was honored to serve in the First Gulf War, a war that we were quite successful at winning in a short amount of time. I completed my term in my tour of duty, and then I became an educator. I taught multiple classes for many, many years. Then I was asked by my principal to move into administration. I became a high school principal. I went back to college, got 2 master's degrees, and then I became a district administrator. My previous employment was as a school district superintendent, and I currently work at Cloud County Community College, where I'm a retention specialist.
You know, you have an interesting background that covers a lot, whether being in the military, growing up on the farm, not too far from our family farm, which is south of Clay Center, a beautiful area there. But when you grow up on the farm, it is a lot of work. Like you talk about morning, night, before school, after school.
Yep.
Going through that, the military, and then into education, what caused you to say, boy, I need to run for political office? Because you ran in the last congressional race and had collected 45% of the vote in the election 2 years ago. What caused you to go down that path?
Well, in my teaching career, I always, sometimes I would teach a government class, a civics class. I would just kind of fill in wherever was needed. And so I've always been interested in the way our government works, both state and federal. I hadn't run for any office, but then I'd finished my previous contract as superintendent, and I had some time on my hands until new school districts were looking for a district administrator. And I really took a close look at our representative for the 1st District. Congressman Hielskamp is a popular congressman. He won in 2012 and without any challenger. And in 2014, I observed his performance. I saw the government shut down, that he was sort of integral in facilitating that. I saw the style, not so much the message. The message I agreed with, but the style was combative, and it was what I consider to be irresponsible. So initially, when I got involved to be sort of an assistant, like to help with messaging and speech writing, and find a candidate that I could really support. I toured the district pretty thoroughly, and no one wanted someone else to run. And I took the last meeting I took was with the 1st District GOP chairman, Randy Duncan. And I think he knew that he said, why would anybody want to challenge Tim? He's the greatest. And I said, well, somebody ought to. I think it's good for the debate. And he could tell that I had this fire in my belly, and he almost dared me to run. And so I left that meeting thinking, well, I'm gonna. Now, I didn't really anticipate that I could win. I'm an unknown. I don't have the political background. I sure don't have the financial resources. But I didn't think it was right that we would have an election where no one challenged an incumbent. No one tried to craft the message. So I ran thinking I'm at least going to do the best I can. And as I got closer to the primary deadline, or the primary election day, I really felt that I could serve the district. And by gosh, I was sure hoping that I could get that 50%. I got very, very close, remarkably close, closer than anybody anticipated, and with far less money than anybody ever could have predicted would be successful.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because you ran as a Republican in the last election, 2014. You're running as an independent now. Why?
I want to be clear. I'm still a Republican in what I believe in the Republican values that I subscribe to. I believe in limited but effective government. I believe in a strong defense. I believe in individual liberties, strong family values. That's what I believe in. But I watch as career politicians, they may say that these are their values. They may say that this is what they are fighting for, But family values are not to fight with every other member of Congress. Effective government is not to obstruct and eventually shut down federal government. A balanced budget is part of a Republican platform. A conservative platform is a balanced budget platform. And in Congress, despite some people claiming to try, there's no balanced budget. In the state, the Republican Party, no balanced budget. We're now deficit spending, which is against our Constitution. So it's not that I'm not Republican anymore. I'm more Republican than before. I don't think that party leadership is Republican, or at least they're not my kind of Republican.
Now, you sound like some folks on the national level when you're saying, hey, the party is not a friend of the voter as much as what they're doing. Is that what you're saying here?
If you look at both main party establishment leadership, if you look on the Democratic side, you've got the superdelegates, and so they're disenfranchising a whole host of Democratic voters from having their voices heard. These superdelegates are not accountable to anybody, and a lot of them are lobbyists. A lot of them are big money spenders. On the Republican side, it's no better. You've got states that they suspend their entire caucus procedure and just hand the votes over to somebody. Now, I'm not endorsing or detracting from any candidate, but that doesn't sound like our constitutional republic. That doesn't sound like the way our form of government ought to work. Party leadership, party establishment, acting like they know more than the voter and taking away their ability to choose democratically who will represent them in Congress or in the White House. It's not fair. It's not what I consider to be what our founding fathers intended.
Now, one of the things that I know when we go through the election, Dr. Roger Marshall is challenging the incumbent, Tim Huelskamp, in the primary. That'll be in August, and then you'll be challenging the winner of that.
Correct.
Is a Democrat? Do the Democrats have a candidate that's? I know they do, but is there one that is out actually running?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I haven't heard of anybody. And if you know of somebody, then I haven't heard of them at all.
So are you actually running yet?
Oh yeah. No, I've got a committee, a federal committee assigned, and the only thing I haven't done is filed with the Secretary of State. So what I'll do is, with an independent, and this is again this party insider thing, if I were to stay Republican, all I've got to do is go to the Secretary of State's office and put in 1% of the salary if you're affiliated with your party, which is $1,700. That's a piece of cake. That's what Senator Moran does, Senator Roberts, every other congressperson. Just you pay that $1,700 and you don't have to get signatures. But if you're not affiliated, they make you go out and gather those signatures. So I'm required to go out and gather 5,000 verified signatures. I turn those in on the filing deadline, and then my primary is just basically the Secretary of State reviewing those to verify and validate and make sure that I got the 5,000 required signatures. And that puts me on the ballot in the general election, where I'll be an independent candidate, still with my Republican values.
I have a lot of questions to ask, but before we go to the break, what kind of campaign style do you have? How do you campaign as an independent? You campaigned as a Republican, received a good number of votes.
Yeah.
But what is your process for doing that? Because I haven't seen your name out. That's why I asked if you were out campaigning.
I tell the truth. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. People want to say grassroots. I'm as grassroots as possible. I don't have a staff. My office is in the back part of my house. It wasn't that much different last go around. I mean, my campaign was seriously grassroots, and yet because of the work that I put in and because of the message that I got out there, I was able to garner better than 45% of the vote. So my campaign looks like that. I'll accept any kind of invite to a candidate forum or just a meet and greet or a place I can give a speech and answer some questions. A big part of it is that I have actively abstained from campaigning full score, full bore. You know?
So you haven't been campaigning since the last election?
No, I've been working. I mean, after the last election, it's worth noting that, that right after the primary, and I felt proud of what I had accomplished, just one man, one idea, or a set of ideas and principles, and I went out there and I turned this district into, a competition. I went and got a job working at the Cloud County Co-op. I actually handled grain. I worked in the mill. I mixed grain and feed. I was outdoors all the way through the rest of the year, working at the co-op, working with agriculture, and everybody. We would take a UPS delivery, and I'd sign for it, and they'd say, LaPolice. There was a LaPolice that ran for Congress. And I'd say, yeah, that was me. And they couldn't believe it. What are you doing here? I said, working. And that's my campaign style. I work. Now, I believe the campaign cycle is too long. I believe that money plays far too much of a factor in it. They tell me I need to raise $1 million, and I say, I didn't do it last time. So my campaign style, I guess, is that I'll raise the necessary contributions. I'll get out there and I'll speak the truth, and I'll pitch my ideas on how to reform Congress and represent the district. And I mean everyone in the district.
I'm going to take a quick break here, Alan. We'll come back, and I want to ask and come back the difference between you and the incumbent when it comes down to how you would run once you would get into office. Our guest is Alan LaPolice. He's running for 1st District Congressman as an independent. Back with more after this from Hayes Med.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Welcome back to the second half of our Forum program here on Eagle Television. The Forum is brought to you by Hayes Med. If you have any questions, ideas, comments, solutions to some of the things we talk about on this program, let me know. It's gary.shorman@eaglecom.net, or you can also find us on Facebook under ECTV Forum. We like to befriend you there on Facebook. Alan LaPolice is our guest here. Alan is running as an independent for the 1st District Congress position. He's running as independent, living in Clyde, Kansas, and traveling all over the big, they call it the Big First, but it really is the Big First. How many miles will you plan to put on when you travel?
Last cycle, I campaigned for give it maybe 7 solid months. And a lot of people said, well, you needed more time. And that's true. I did need more time, but this is different. This one, I mean, if I started, and I did, if I started in May, which is when I'm really getting involved in it, I've got 6 months till the general, but I've got some name recognition. I know the district. I know I've got constituents in every single town and city throughout this 63 plus county district, biggest congressional district geographically in the United States. And I know I'm not green in this. I'm seasoned, and I know how to get around and who to contact, and I know what I want to say.
When you look at the incumbent that you're running against, why are you different? There's voters out there watching right now. Why are you different than the existing congressman? You say you're both kind of Republican values, but what are you going to do different? If somebody votes for Alan LaPolice, what are you going to do different when you get to office?
My job. I mean, I don't mean to be flippant, but my job isn't to obstruct. My job isn't to vote no on everything. You know, you could get a 5-year-old, send them, they could vote no on everything. That's a piece of cake. And I'm not disparaging Congressman Heelskamp. I would say he and I we have a mutual respect, almost admiration. I agree with what he says. I agree that Congress is flawed and the system is corrupt, and that he agrees money is too much of a factor. He recently came out and said that there's a hierarchy of committees, and everything that happens in Congress gets done in committee, so you need a committee assignment. But there's a hierarchy of committees, and you've got your A list, your B list, your C list committees. And if you want an A-list committee, you've got to pay dues to the party. Well, he knows that's wrong. I know that's wrong. Everyone in the United States knows that that's wrong. But what are you going to do about it? And what's different is that I'm going to do something different about that. I don't know how to say it. I won't pay dues to a party. There's a unique advantage to being independent. If the Republicans want me to caucus with them, and if I'm successful, I think they will. They'll want me to caucus, and they'll want to put me on committees. Then I'll be on committees. But in those committees, I want to get the job done, and I want to just take the money out of politics. I have a unique advantage over, I think, every member of Congress. Every member of Congress gets elected, and it's hard. Believe me, it's hard, and it costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of promising and commitments and hard work. I ran last time not knowing if I could win or not, but I wasn't afraid to lose. This time, my advantage, what makes me far better than most other candidates, is that I'm not afraid to lose. And I have no fear of that. So the day I get elected is the day I go to work. Every other candidate, they get elected, they know how hard it was, they know how much it costs, so they start campaigning, and their only job becomes to raise money. It just becomes fundraising. There was a 60 Minutes documentary, and they pointed it out, and I've seen those rooms. I won't do that. I'm not campaigning now, because that's what's wrong. So my advantage is that I have no fear of losing the next race. I have no fear of not winning re-election. I'll do my job, and I believe I'll get re-elected because I will do my job. That's the major difference.
When you see and you have, you're talking to a town hall type thing, What are the questions people ask you? Because that's a little different. You know, you have your Republican side, the Democratic side. That's how it's always run. And now here's this darn independent guy out here. What do they ask you that's different than maybe they ask the counterparts on the Republican and Democratic side?
Well, independent's new. I mean, this is last week. This development was Thursday. So this decision to go independent is brand spanking new. But I don't anticipate, my message won't change. What I'm trying to accomplish is not going to change. It's still Republican values. It's still a balanced budget. It's still paying down the debt so that our children and grandchildren don't inherit this massive debt that just crushes their souls. My message that the government should be reduced in size but more effective in productivity is still there. And my vision for defense is stronger than it's ever been. So nothing changed. If every Republican committee, every county Republican group, I would be grateful for them to invite me, and I will speak and answer their questions exactly like I did a week ago before this change. This change only allows me to be on the general ballot where everyone gets a say, and it frees me from having to toe the party line in a party that I think is far too self-centered right now. And the goal would be to bring the party back to restore it back to the honorable party that it once was, the party of Lincoln. I mean, we have that history that in any country in the world, we've got Abe Lincoln, and this was one of the greatest leaders that the world's ever seen. I'm truly a part of the party of Lincoln. The independent label is just, I don't know, maybe it's my attempt to step aside and then come back and bring it back to that, the party of Eisenhower. I'm a huge fan of Eisenhower. Eisenhower would be unrecognizable in this current party, and he would be unelectable in the primary. There would be no chance. Bob Dole himself told me he wouldn't stand a chance in a Republican primary in this day and age. Now, we're all hollering, what's wrong with Congress? Why can't they do their jobs? Why can't we get the historic leadership that we once got? Because those people can't get elected. Bob Dole himself said that he couldn't do it. He wouldn't even try in this day and age. That's the difference.
Somebody wants to find out more about you, Alan. Where do they go? Because I assume you're not going to have big ad campaigns and billboards with your face and all this stuff around the state.
No, even if I had lots of money, I wouldn't do that. No, AlanLaPolice.com is the best way. On there, you'll find the campaign office number. You'll find email address. You'll find contact information. I've got a platform. I mean, I take a risk in saying specifically what my platform is. New challengers in politics, they never get specific because you lose on specifics. So you talk in generalities. I'm very specific. I mean, I've got a very specific defense policy, which every American agrees we need better defense. I've got a very specific economic policy, and I have a plan to pay down the debt. No one gives that. I've got a very specific policy on how to restore public trust in government before it's too late. No one says that. They smile and they say those taglines that voters just, they gravitate towards because everybody's busy. I'm actually giving specifics. For 6 months now, I've been giving a solution every Monday on social media to anything.
Because you're on Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook. They can go to Facebook, Alan LaPolice. But every Monday I'll offer something. So, I offered solutions for the VA, how to actually fund the VA properly. I offered solutions for, how to deal with too big to fail with the banking structures. I mean, whatever the problem is, I'm not going to give some tagline and say, well, here's what you need to hear to vote for me. I'm going to say specifically, here's how I intend to fix it. And this isn't the only solution, but I'm going to bring this solution. I'm going to negotiate with like-minded representatives, and we're going to hammer out an agreement the way Bob Dole did so that we can solve these problems. We send representatives to Congress to do something. We don't send them there to fight. We don't send them there to lobby. We don't send them there to get cushy jobs when they walk out of there, like Eric Cantor goes and gets a $10 million contract as a lobbyist. I'm trying to do solutions that make sense. I'm the only candidate that's committed to term limits. I believe that that's a major problem. I won't be there after 6 years. I'll do 3 terms. I will not become a lobbyist, and I will not take a pension because I don't think that it's a career job. I think that representatives and senators, they should go there, they should serve their term or their terms, and then go back to doing what it was that they claimed that they love to do. That's what I'll do.
After getting 45% of the vote in the last general election, or in the last primary against the Republican primary, are they going to take you more seriously this time? Because I'm not sure they did last time.
No, the polls indicated that when I started, the polls said that I was in the basement, if you will. The congressman had a 65% hard reelect number which every strategist said, well, there's no touching that. Those people are committed, they won't change their vote, so there's no point in running. I ran anyway. And over time, the message and my passion became clear, and so people, toward the end, started to take me seriously. Every strategist, every pundit, every elected official that saw it, they said, Alan, if you would have had 1, maybe 2 more weeks, you'd have won that race. I believe them. I agree. Here's your chance. I'm giving myself 6 months till the general election, and if you take me seriously, I will represent well, and I'll do honor, and I'll do right by the state.
Alan LaPolice, A-L-A-N.
Yes, sir.
LaPolice, LaPolice.com.
Just like it sounds. Yep.
And your Facebook page, same thing?
Same thing. And then I'm also, there's an individual account there, and if someone wants to friend request me, I'll probably...
You can be their friend, huh?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Thanks for joining us on the program today, Alan.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
you being here and the work you're doing. Alan LaPolice is running for Congress as an independent in the state of Kansas. You can look him up under AlanLaPolice.com or under Alan LaPolice on Facebook. The forum is brought to you by HaysMed and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
HaysMed is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, HaysMed is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. HaysMed, helping people be healthy.